I'm Roger with Roger's Outdoor Channel. Today we're going to have you kind of walk through my footsteps as I uh, cover the northwest part of Washington and kind of talk about some of the scenic drives that are available and take you on one that cover uh, some of the sites that I like or some of the activities that I like up in this part of the state. Once you watch the video, be reminded that there'll be a map showing exactly the route that I took, as well as a notes of, don't forget to, consider looking at this or that type of thing. So that will be in some of the companion information that is attached to this video. So that being said, let's go on a little trip in the northwest part of the state. The first thing that I think of when I leave Seattle and I head north, you get up to Everett and Marysville, and geez, what used to be open fields and greenery is now apartment houses, warehouse projects, etc. And it's really getting pretty built up out here in the northwest. But as you start getting closer to as you pass Marysville and you start getting moving on towards Mount Vernon, you get back to the country a little bit more, and you'll come to, if you decide to take a road to the right, there's an opportunity to go across the North Cascades Highway, which is really a cool trip. It's one of the Washington scenic trips. You can take take a Seattle City Light tour of Diablo Dam, drive all the way across to Winthrop and Twisp, old western towns, etc. We're not going there today, but just kind of mark that on the map as far as, that's something to think about in this part of the state. What I usually do, one of the sites that I like to do, is just before I get to Mount Vernon, there's an exit that says LaConner that you can turn off the freeway and head west. Towards this little town that a lot of people retire in. It's a cute little town. It's got a lot of art galleries and just different little restaurants. Caters to the tourists. On your way there, you're going to pass fruit stands. You're going to hit kind of the southern tip of the tulip area that Mount Vernon is famous for. And if you go there in either the fall or the spring at certain times, it's a huge migration area for birds. All kinds of waterfowl, everything from swans and snow geese and regular geese and ducks. They learn when the farmers are planting seeds in their fields, and they make that as they time their migration flights with that planting schedule. When you get to when I get to, we look at some of the galleries, etc., in Mount Vernon, and then I'll usually cut back through some of the tulip fields if they're available, and come back to Mount Vernon, I-5, and go just slightly north of Mount Vernon, and you'll see a little road that'll say one of the first exits past Mount Vernon will be Chuckanut Drive. It's again a Washington scenic drive. You can take that to the left. If you turn just slightly sooner than that, you have gone across the Skagit River, and this on the west side of the river, there's a couple of highways that head out to Baker Lake, which you've got everything from natural hot springs to great sockeye fishing. I take my canoe up there from time to time. It's a big, Skagit River is a big time salmon river, and you'll see where there's salmon, there's always eagles, and they have actually boat tours that will take you to see up the river when the salmon are spawning, to see literally hundreds of eagles in the trees feasting on these salmon. But anyway, today we're just going to go past that, turn on Chuckanut Drive. You'll come just a couple miles, you'll come to a little town of Bow. There's a little bakery there that we usually get one of their hot cross buns for the road. They have these mammoth things that are just kind of fun to do. And then you'll start driving through the along this Chuckanut Drive, and you'll kind of look out in the bay, and you'll see where they raise oysters out in this area. You'll see several different, not several, but a couple different oyster beds, commercial oyster beds out there. And there's a really nice restaurant along the way that kind of features oysters and seafood that we enjoy stopping at from time to time. If you kind of follow this Chuckanut Bay or Chuckanut Drive, to almost Bellingham, you'll get to Bellingham and see Western University. Actually, I have a nephew that teaches there. Good kid and a good instructor too. That about the environment is his specialty, and they've got gardens, they've got museums there, etc. But what I like to do when I'm up there is, especially during the summertime, is Bellingham Bay has this big shallow flat that you can actually wade out into, and if you have a little landing net or even a golf club or something like that, you can catch crab, Dungeness crab, that are kind of scurrying across the bottom in front of you, and you're only up a little above your knees as you're doing this, if you catch the tide right, and that's a lot of fun. So today we're going to drive up to the border. The border's closed because of this COVID thing. If we were to go a little bit further, I'd love to just go a few miles past the border, take a left-hand turn, go to the Tawasin Ferry, go across to Vancouver Island. That's one of my favorite salmon fishing places, and Indian villages. A bunch of just cool places to visit on Vancouver Island. Or I'd go straight to. We often head up to Vancouver, BC. Fabulous dining. You see an old World's Fair site. Go to Stanley Park. Just all kinds of neat. Vancouver is a pretty little city. It's actually scenic rivals both Seattle and San Francisco as far as kinds of things that are there. But again, today we just kind of turn around when we get to the border and start heading back. But rather than take the same route back, just before we get to Mount Vernon, just actually the same exit that you took for Chuckanut Drive, Highway 20 I think it is, you take that to the west like you're heading towards Anacortes. As you head towards Anacortes, you'll pass one of the casinos, and about 3 miles before you get to Anacortes, there'll be a cutoff that will where you can turn to Whidbey Island and go across Deception Pass. That's the route that we're going to take today. Had we continued on to Anacortes, you can catch ferries out of Anacortes to go up through the San Juan Islands. Again, one of the really cool scenic places to go is take that ferry up into the San Juans if you've got time to get off at Friday Harbor or Orcas Island or something, and just you can drive your car around, and there's plenty of touristy type activities to do up there. But again, today we're turning heading south towards Whidbey Island. Just before we get to Deception Pass, we'll go past a couple of lakes, Campbell Lake, Bass Lake. I love fishing both of those. Go across the Deception Pass Bridge and kind of actually get off and park your car and take some photographs while you're there. It's just a cool, big drop down to the water, and it's a huge tide swing through there where the land masses kind of funnel when the tide is changing, it forces it through this narrow channel, and it increases the tide flow so much that small boats have a tough time making headway against it. As you come on to Whidbey Island, it's just you kind of get past the first little town that you come to, and then you're country, and the country is things like lavender farms, and you pick raspberries, and you can see the salt water actually from both sides of you know, the highway that you're on. There's a place as you start getting towards the southern end of Whidbey Island. There's a place that you can take a ferry, catch a ferry, and go over to Port Townsend. Fun little, you know, if you want a little variety to your trip home back to Seattle or wherever, you know, take that. But we usually wind up just going past Langley to Clinton, where the ferry is. Take maybe a half-hour ferry boat ride to just kind of collect your thoughts and what did I see today, and you know, and just kind of, wow, wasn't that cool? You know, isn't the scenery great? You know, these scenic tours that you're taking, and the ferry, you know, the ride on the ferry. Take your camera up on top deck as well, because that's a really pretty little ride. It'll drop you off in Mukilteo, and you can go past the Boeing plant and you know, the museums and stuff of you know, where they're building all these planes and that. But get to know Washington a little bit. It's the scenic tours in this part of the state are really cool. They really cater to the tourist. Fun place to do. Again, I've got notes and you know, maps, etc. on the trip that we're talking about today. Take it and enjoy. If you happen to see me driving up the highway, don't forget to wave.